Hello and welcome back to Actually Adultish. I'm one of your hosts, Janina, and the Nina hiatus is officially over. I'm reunited with my best friend, Christina.
Yeah, I'm so excited that you're back. I missed you so much.
I miss you too.
But now the dynamic duo is back together. Thank you guys so much for all the positive feedback, especially on our last podcast. It was a big one, and it means so much to us that you guys reached out and really liked it. So thank you. As usual, if you enjoy it, please subscribe on iTunes and or Stitcher. Please leave a rating and review. It really helps us out. It's hard to get the word out there about podcasts, so it really helps us if you can share, tell people about us, tell your family, your friends, your Uber drivers, people in class, everybody, your doctor, whatever. So yeah, that would really help us out. And you can send in questions, comments, everything to actuallyadultish@gmail.com or on our website, actuallyadultish.com. So yeah, thanks. Anyways, this week we're super excited because we have a very special guest. Her name's Les. She's from The Balanced Berry, the blog. She's one of my favorite blogger friends. I love her to death. She's so sweet. She's a personal trainer, so we're gonna ask her some fitness questions. She also knows she's just all about health, inside out. She's the real deal. She's so authentic. Love her. Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and get her on the line and interview her. Hey, Les.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Yes, we got Les.
Yes,
thanks for having me.
We're so excited to have you here today. So we just did a little intro, but why don't you start off by telling our listeners a little bit about you, what you do, where you're from, all that.
Yeah, definitely. So my name is Les, and I blog at The Balanced Berry. It's my healthy living blog, and my social profiles are all under the name Balanced Berry. And really what I do is I just share content for young women to help them feel good from the inside out. So I share a lot of healthy recipes and fitness info, but I also really love sharing content around mindset and happiness and wellness from within. And so, yeah, anytime I get inspired to share something along those lines, I put it on the internet.
Yeah, and that's that's what drew me to her just from the beginning. You were one of the first blogs I just really was obsessed with, because it's not just about, you have amazing recipes and you talk about fitness and all that, but it's it's the wellness and the internal stuff that I really connect with. And I comment on I feel like we're the same person.
That's cool. I think that's just as important too.
Yeah, it's more important, and it's you talk about things that I just hate the fluff on the internet. There's a time for fluff, but there's a time for let's talk about what matters,
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And I like how you just are willing to be vulnerable and talk about just everything resonates with me. So that's
I'm so glad.
Yeah. And you guys, if she Les was one of the first people I interviewed on my blog. So after this, if you want to learn more about her, go to my blog and read the interview there. So you can.
Oh yeah, that's right. Early on in your friendship. That's cute.
Literally a couple of days ago, one of my coworkers was like, I found an interview with you on this blog. And she was talking about how she found your blog and was reading the interview
so
a couple
funny.
days ago. So funny.
It's such a good interview. I loved it. You were the first person. Yeah, you were the first person I asked. I got that idea literally because of you, because I was my friend. No, I'm not even joking. Because my friends will be oh, what other blogs do you read and stuff, and I was I should just start interviewing people so other people can see the people that I like. Is that I feel you find people through me
all the time, yeah.
And you were the first person I emailed, but then my email didn't go through, and
oh yeah,
yeah, but it worked out, and it ended up being really good. So. Yeah. So, okay. How did you first... Okay, just warning you, we're gonna re-ask you some questions we already asked you on the blog, just because it's different audience. But, so, how did you first get into blogging?
Yeah, so I first stumbled upon healthy living blogs when I was in college. And that was a bit ago. It was probably 5 or 6 years ago that I started getting into reading blogs. And back then they were really different. It was all about diary style, what I ate Wednesday, you know,
Mm,
very different
I
style.
didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like in the late 2000s, that's like what blogging was. And I got really into them because my senior year of college, I started getting really into health and fitness. I was living off campus for the first time, and I was starting to really cook for myself. And I was deciding, like, man, if I'm going to be an adult and I'm going to like work, I should probably take care of myself. So I can't live off of like college food and like beer forever. I should probably
real
figure
life.
it out. And so I just became obsessed with blogs and just like seeing what other people were doing and wellness from other people's perspectives. And I just read so many blogs for so long that finally I was like, why don't I just start one? Like, this is silly. I read so many and I could start one of these too. And it was during a time where I had been working as a personal trainer in addition to my corporate job that I had after college for a few years. I had stopped personal training because being in the gym for so long just really led to me having a really negative relationship with food and fitness and my body. And it was just like a really bad place. So I stepped away from training for a while. But a lot of my clients still wanted to keep in touch with me. They still wanted to know what I was doing, what I was eating. And so kind of the combination of all those factors led me to starting a blog.
Yeah. Okay.
That's awesome.
There's so much in there that I want to unpack. Okay. Where do I want to start? So, I guess... Well, okay, since it was the most recent thing you said, can we talk about, like, the whole issues of being in the gym so much and what that brought up for you? And I think that's something that not enough people talk about. Like, I stopped working out.
We were actually just talking about this.
Yeah, like...
It's like, you can, like, sense the insecurities from, like, all these different people, and, like, it kind of, like, drifts onto you a little bit.
That's why I stopped working out. I stopped going to the gym. I do all my workouts at home just because I can't be in the environment, so I can't even imagine like training and like you've like lived there probably,
Yeah.
Right?
Totally. Yeah, it was so hard. I mean, I had a 9 to 5 and then I would be at gyms like teaching classes and training clients before and after work and, you know, nights and weekends. And it was hard because you have this weird environment where it's like clients are looking to you to be a role model to them. And, you know, you work in fitness, like your body is your billboard. So I felt a lot of pressure to look a certain way so that people I was credible. But then you also have the relationships with other trainers too. And in fitness, it's really competitive. So you have trainers like sizing each other up, and then you're spending like all your time in a gym where there is a lot of vanity happening. And it was just really, really tough.
Yeah. And like, so how did that affect your relationship with food?
It was really hard. So at the time, I was living in an apartment by myself, which is just really tricky. If you have any sort of like negative relationship with food, living alone is really tricky. So you're not going to have anyone to notice you.
That's an interesting point to bring up.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
True.
I would really... I got really into macro counting, and I would be really religious about it. Like, my Fitness Pal was always like my do or die. I had one of those like polar heart rate monitors, and I'm a morning workout person. So like how many calories I burned during my morning workout like dictated my mood for the day. If I didn't burn a certain number of calories and I like had to leave the gym to get to work, I was going to be in a bad mood because I just like felt like it was a waste. I mean, so twisted looking back on it. So I would like really restrict calories, be really obsessive about my macros. And then, you know, I would get to a point where I would get really stressed out and I would just binge. But I lived alone and I was alone all the time. So no one really saw me restricting. No one really saw me binging. Like it was just, no one really knew about it because I didn't have anyone there to kind of call me on it.
Yeah.
And so it was just a really vicious cycle.
Now, when you were in college, did you live with other people, and like, did that affect your eating during that time?
Did. It really, you know, it did to an extent. I was in a sorority and just laughing to myself thinking about your guys' Greek life.
Is it different in Washington?
Yeah. And well, no, I didn't go to University of Washington. I went to a really small liberal arts school. So like I had a totally different experience with the Greek system. It was like at my college, you went Greek if you were like normal and not like a super punchy hippie.
Oh, that must be nice compared to ours.
If you were like normal, then you either played a sport or like were in the Greek system. So it was a totally different experience.
Yeah, that's so funny.
But still, if you're constantly eating around big groups of girls, you live in a house with 40 other girls, you're going to be looking at what each other's eating. People are going to make comments of like, that's all you're eating? Or, oh my gosh, like you ate all that? You're so tiny. How do you do? You know what I mean? Little comments like that. I have to say, when I was in college, I think I was a lot more strong-willed because I just like didn't care. I was like, whatever, I'm not listening. And had a lot more positive body image at that point than I did later on. But it was in college that I started to notice the connection between what I ate and how I felt, for sure.
So is that what like propelled you into becoming healthier?
Totally. I think the biggest thing that propelled me, the summer between my junior and senior year, I had an internship, like a corporate internship at the company I then went on to work for. And it was the first time I ever had to like sit still. And it was terrible. Like, I am such a hyper person. I was like tired all the time and groggy from sitting at a desk. And I was like, this is horrible. I have to eat well. I need to start working out. Like, I need to do something if I'm going to sit at this desk for, you know, the rest of my career. And so that was what really motivated me to work out and eat better was I felt so off sitting at a desk all day.
Yeah. So when you started training and then you started like having problems with food and like, so what made you snap and be like, I need to take a step back. I need to change this. Like, did you realize like, as you were going through it, like something's wrong. Like, I think that's the hardest part. Like I dealt with binge eating and stuff. And like, I think that's the hardest part is like making the change to like not doing that. Like, how did you do that?
Yeah, totally. It was a combination of things. Kind of like I said, I was at a point where I was living alone and I was spending a lot of time alone. And I didn't really have a life. Like, I didn't have a lot of people around that I felt like I could talk to. I didn't have much of a social life. So it was like, well, I'll be at the gym training clients all night on a Friday because I have nothing else to do. And so I think things really started to shift for me when I started surrounding myself with really great people who didn't really care as much about fitness or what I looked like or training or whatever. Being in situations where I felt like I could just kind of be myself and relax with friends, I ended up moving out of the place by myself and getting a roommate. And I think just positive energy, being around people made me realize I can feel better and I don't need to keep doing these things to be happy because I wasn't. And so I think like positive energy is what really helped motivate me to make those changes.
Yeah. So were those people that you already knew? Like, or I think I was talking about this with somebody else, like, who in a different context is, like, needs better friends, like, meeting people and, like, finding good, positive people. Like, do you have any tips for that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's just all about, like, kind of putting your best foot forward. I think if you put energy out there where you're constantly seeking something or where you're constantly trying to fix yourself, that's what you're going to attract. You know, when I was at the height of just being all crazy and not good to myself, I did have one close friend who's still a close friend of mine, and we would hang out 24/7, but she was in a phase where she was doing the same thing. And so, you know, we weren't really checking each other because we were in a very similar place. And so I think once we kind of released that a little bit and opened up to other people, it allowed us both to be more positive and like be in a more positive place. I also reconnected with old friends, you know, that I hadn't talked to in a long time or that I kind of alienated because I felt like they didn't understand. I had gotten out of a relationship that like wasn't serving me. And so that helped a ton. I think it's just all about like putting good vibes out there and that's what you get back. But when you're in a really toxic place and you're just like living in that, that's what's gonna, you know, that's what you're going to attract.
Yeah.
So when you found that balance between like your healthy, I guess, fitness outlook, how did you incorporate that into your blog?
Totally. So it was right as I started finding kind of that sweet spot that made me happier, that I started my blog. So I had taken time away from the gym, didn't work out at gyms, didn't really work out much at all. I was still pretty active. Like I would walk a ton, and even at my like really boring job, I got a standing desk so I wasn't sitting all day.
Nice.
But I just needed to like start clean with fitness. And so it was right as I started clean that I started blogging. And so way back in the archives of my blog, it is a little more diary style because that's what I was reading, right? That was like what I originally aspired to be. And I would talk about my week. I would talk about what I did. I would talk about workouts that I liked. And then I slowly started making it less about me, and I started making it more about, okay, if I was in that spot, what did I want to hear at that time? And how can I talk to that girl who needs to hear it like I did?
Yeah. Okay, so we want to ask you some fitness questions since you are certified. And I feel like it's so much like you've been on the wrong side of the fitness and then came back, so you understand, I guess, I feel like better balance. Like I feel like a lot of people who give fitness advice are just giving unrealistic things, and I'm like,
and they might have the same problem at the time that they're giving it.
I feel like people, I feel like you're addicted to exercise right now, and you're telling people to work out like 20 times a week, and that's just like unsustainable, and that makes people feel like I can't do that, so I'm just not even gonna try. Like and I mean that's obviously like why I wanted to bring you on, because I feel like you can give realistic advice.
What do you specialize in anything in fitness?
You know, most of what I taught when I was teaching classes was functional training. So a lot of things around core strength, kettlebell work, TRX, things of that nature, as opposed to like the traditional kind of, I don't want to say bodybuilding, but kind of like traditional fitness does tend to fit that model. When I was training, I was in more of like the functional fitness realm.
Okay. So what kind of workouts do you like to do now, like personally?
Yeah. So personally, I love doing like fast-paced circuits. I get bored super easily. So I can't be like 3 sets of squats and then 3 sets of 15 bicep curls. Like that is the most boring thing in the world to me.
Yeah, like when you know what's coming.
Yeah, it's just so boring. So I personally love combining strength training and plyometrics in quick circuits to get my heart rate up, because I just think that they're so fun and they're really effective.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you like technical questions because these are the questions that people want us to ask. And okay, so like people want to know like, just not to be a bodybuilder, but to be a fit person, healthy person, how many times a week should I exercise? What should I do? How long? Like those kind of questions. Like, you know, like as somebody like us, like college students, I want a normal person workout plan that's attainable, but also like will get me in shape. Like what would you recommend?
Totally. So a couple of things. One, and this is the answer that nobody likes. First answer will be it depends on the definition of like fit that you're looking for, right?
Very
so
true.
For some people, being fit is, you know, I want to run a mile in 8 minutes. Or for other people, being fit is like, I want to be able to curl a 20-pound dumbbell or whatever. I will say for most people, or what I have kind of found to be my sweet spot where I feel active and where I feel good would be working out like 5 days a week. But I even think if it's realistic for someone to work out 3 days a week, like that's great. I think if you're getting your heart rate up and you're moving your body and you're challenging your body at least a few times a week, like that's what you need to be healthy and to make progress.
Yeah. I think also some people don't realize that like over exercising can like make your progress worse. Like
I was at my heaviest during that time that I was describing to you guys when I was binging and then restricting and working out a ton. I was at my heaviest, and it's totally true because you put that stress on your body and you don't give yourself time to recover, your cortisol levels are going to be through the roof and it's going to hinder any progress you make.
I've never told anybody this, but I mean, I think everybody knows I'm like constantly on a mission to gain weight. Like right now I'm trying to gain weight because I was underweight for so long, and like that's I'm not the kind of person that can just sit and not move.
Yeah.
So that's like a technique I use to put on weight. I will like, which is kind of fucked up, but like sometimes I'm like, I'm gonna like inflame my body kind of, and it helps me like there was a time period where I like needed to put on a certain amount of weight very quickly, and I over exercised, and it helped me like, you know.
Yeah, that's like proof that if you're trying to like lose it, then
like
calm down a little bit.
You have to be like at a normal spot, so your cortisol levels are like not psychotic, and your body literally gets inflamed, like puffy. Like,
exactly.
And people don't realize that. Like, you have to find the middle ground somewhere.
I work out less than I ever did before, and I feel like the lightest I've ever been. Like the best, like more balanced I've ever been. Yeah. And I wish I knew that before when I was following like these different plans.
So that's an interesting. What do you think about these like different like plans, like workout guides?
Especially the ones with like support groups where everyone's telling you, yeah, you can do it, and like you check in with your community online. And what do you think about that?
I think that they can be a really good way to get moving if you're new to fitness. If you don't know yet what you need from a workout plan and you just need to get moving and don't know where to start. I think, though, there's no such thing as a one-size-fits-all that's going to work for everybody. So there's no one plan when it comes to food or fitness that's going to make you look a certain way. I think what's best is starting with one of those plans like that to start working out so that you can see how it feels. And at one point, you get this click of like, oh, I know how my body is supposed to feel. I know what feels right. I know what doesn't. And I know what I need to look for. Like, once you reach that point, then you can make real progress. But I think one-size-fits-all plans are just that. Like, it's not going to work for everybody, but if you're not doing anything, it's a good way to start and get moving.
And to figure out what you do and don't like. Like, you can try it, and if you don't like it, then I don't like that kind of workout. So don't do that kind of workout.
And I'm all for not doing things that you don't like.
Exactly. So like, what do you think is the most like efficient type of workout? Like, I mean, recently, like, you talk a lot about HIIT workouts, which I'm a really big believer in, because I feel like people think that they have to spend so much time every day, and that's just not always realistic for people. And I'm like, no, you can still be in shape and like not spend that much time. We're all everybody's limited on time nowadays, guys.
Yeah.
Like, so
there's not enough in the day.
Make it harder than it needs to be. So what would your like recommendations be in terms of that?
Yeah, I totally think workouts where you can combine your cardio and strength training in one are going to get you the most bang for your buck. So even if you do a superset of a strength move and then immediately follow it up with like a plyo or a cardio move, that's what's going to give you like the most challenge in the shortest amount of time, for sure.
Yeah. So if somebody is doing a HIIT workout, how many, like, is it okay to do HIIT workouts like 5 days a week?
No, and I'm so glad that you asked this question. So the thing about HIIT, or the thing about cardio in general, is that cardio is like strength training for your heart, right? So we think of cardio and strength training as two separate things, and ultimately they are. But cardio is strength training for your heart and your lungs. So just like with lifting weights, you wouldn't necessarily lift the same muscle group 2 days in a row because you want to give your body time to rest. The same goes for HIIT. So if you get your heart rate up super high, like balls to the wall HIIT session one day, you need to take at least a day off in between that so that your body can recover before you go and do it again, because otherwise then you're going to go right back into that overtraining, stressing your body out phase, which ultimately, if your goal is like a stronger heart and to, be in a better place of overall health, isn't what you want to do.
I see.
Oh, wait, I want to ask something.
Okay, go ahead.
Also, the other thing is, I'll go, say I Google like HIIT workouts, I'll literally see people being like, oh yeah, I do HIIT for 40 to 50 minutes.
Oh God.
And I'm like
40 to 50 minutes.
And then you see other people who are like 10-minute HIIT. Like, and I'm like, and then other people are like 30-minute HIIT. I'm like, okay, I feel like no one is on the same page about. Do you want to clear that up for us?
Totally. So, I mean, I think the hard thing is that people mix up interval training with high intensity interval training.
Okay.
We're truly pushing yourself at a high intensity and getting your heart rate up close to as high as it can go. Chances are nobody can do that for like 50 minutes straight.
Yeah.
So
I feel.
Yeah, it's like your heart cannot work that hard. You shouldn't push yourself quite that hard.
Yeah.
I think if you want to do moderate interval training for 50 minutes, if you have 50 minutes and that's what you like to do, I mean,
I don't have 50
relate to that feeling, but go for it.
Yeah.
I think if you're doing high intensity and you're truly like pushing your body to work at a really high intensity, you probably don't want to go any more than like 30 minutes.
Okay. How can you go over 30?
I couldn't. If I'm doing true hit,
yeah.
I'm like after
20 minutes is
20
good
minutes
enough.
max. Like even 15, I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
I'm dying.
Totally.
But okay, so do you think that people need to do regular steady state cardio? What if you don't like it?
Yeah, I'm totally one of those people who doesn't like it. Like, you're not ever going to see me hop on a treadmill and just like jog for an hour. Also, mostly because I trained for a half marathon on a treadmill and was like really traumatized after that.
Serious?
Wow.
Can't do it. Yeah.
Damn, girl.
Don't love it. But I do think that instead of steady state cardio, the focus should just be more on getting movement throughout the day, right? So if you're walking as a main form of transportation, like that's steady state cardio.
Yeah.
If you're taking the stairs when you can, or if you're getting in at least 10,000 steps a day, like that's steady state cardio. It doesn't have to be, schlumping it on the elliptical for an hour because that's just boring and has the time to do that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I don't like steady state cardio. So okay, so let's say you wanted to do HIIT like 2 or 3 times a week, and then in between, could you do just like not high intensity, but like regular intensity body weight stuff?
Yeah, totally. I think that would be a really great balance. I personally don't like to do HIIT more than like 3 times a week, and then if you follow that up with either strength or like moderate intensity cardio, like I don't want to knock cardio because a lot of people really like it. There are a lot of people who are runners who love to run, and like if you're moving, that's totally awesome.
Yeah.
But I hate it when people who don't like that or who feel like they can't do that feel discouraged or like they can't be fit because they don't fit that specific mold, you know?
And that's why I'm asking you these questions, because I feel like so many people are like, I don't like working out. Can you just tell me what's like effective that like, I'm like, you don't have to do, they're like, I can't work out because I hate to run. I'm like, I hate to run too. I don't ever run. You'll never see me run, like ever. Like, and you'll never see me ride a bike. Like, you know, like,
does it matter if you work out at the same time each day?
I think that that's really good for mindset and routine. But at the end of the day, when it comes to fitness, like your body can't tell time. Like you're not going to burn, more calories at one time a day than another. Even though I hate burning calories being like the focus of a conversation, like it's the truth.
Yeah.
But I think from a routine standpoint, like that's the best way to stick to it and be consistent for sure.
If you have a timer always going.
Exactly.
Yeah. And also it's like, that'll make you more like people are like, well, I can't work out because I can't wake up that early. I'm like, well, then work out at night. Like, like.
It's hard for me to work out at night because then I can't go to sleep as early for some reason.
I'm the opposite. I can work out in the morning and I can only work out at night. Like, so I feel like you just have to figure out what works for you so that you'll be able to stick to it,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So do you have any recommendations for people who need like workout inspiration? Like if somebody's just like, I don't know what to do. I don't want to go to gym. I just want to do body weight stuff in my room. Like I don't know what exercise it. Like, just like, I'm trying to give people like an idea of how they can do this themselves and it not be complicated. And I know you have a nice little program.
I do. Yeah. I had an online boot camp that I ran for 2 sessions. Actually, we just had one end. That was really fun. I had groups of 10 women at a time that I took through a 6-week program, which was really awesome. It was kind of my way of dipping my toes back in the water of like training people again. But I think the most important thing, if you want to start working out and you don't know where to start, is to just identify why you want to start working out and identify how you want to feel, right? So taking looks out of the equation, because I feel like that's what so many people do. And honestly, it is so easy to like, if looking a certain way is your motivator, that's not very motivating.
Yeah, it's not going to ever be enough.
Yeah, it's never be enough. It's either one, you're either going to wake up one morning and not care, right? So if you're is getting a 6-pack and it's January and freezing, you're not going to be motivated to do much because who cares, right? Or you can take it to a really scary place where it can be very disordered and can really impact your health. So I think starting off with how you want to feel can be a really good way to help you outline the rest of what you want to do. Having clear goals. So do you want to feel like you can walk up a flight of stairs without getting winded? Do you want to feel strong? Do you want to be able to do a push-up on your toes for the first time? Like, set that performance goal or a goal for how you want to feel, and then you can kind of either seek training or a program or even, figure out exercises to do on your own based off of those goals. Because I know for me as a trainer, before I start working with any clients, even the ladies in my boot camp, the first thing we did was, okay, what are your goals? Why do you want to be a part of this? What do you want to achieve at the end? And if someone doesn't know, they're not going to stick with it, right?
Yeah.
No skin in the game.
That's very true.
Yeah. Do you think that, people always ask me this, do you think that somebody could just like body weight only, get in great shape, just doing body weight exercises?
Oh, totally. Oh my gosh. So when I stopped training initially and like took a break from the gym, I ended up working out from home for a period of time, and I did PIO. You guys know PIO? It was like Chalene Johnson's program. It's so great, actually.
Did you say Jimmy Johnson?
Chalene Johnson.
Oh, Chalene Johnson. Okay.
A beach body person. But I did her PIO program as like a way to keep moving like when I wasn't ready to go to the gym. And I was in like the best shape ever from doing those like body weight. It's like a combination of Pilates and yoga. So much fun. I still do the workouts sometimes when I just like don't want to leave the house.
Yeah.
You totally can, but you have to be doing it in a way that's still challenging yourself and pushing your muscles. And you can totally do it with body weight, but it has to be in a way that makes sense, right? You can't do like body weight squats every time you're switching your laundry out and like think that's gonna change, despite what Pinterest tells us, like that's not quite gonna cut it. But if you're following a cohesive program, you totally can get results doing body weight.
Yeah. And wait, I just forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, well, I just brought that up because I was like, I feel like the standard like workout plan is like, okay, go do weights for 30 minutes and then do 30 minutes cardio. Like, and that's what everybody does. And like, what do you think about that?
I mean, I don't know. I think if you genuinely enjoy doing that, like that can be totally effective. I know for me years ago, like when I would work out, that's what it looked like. And at that time, I enjoyed doing it, and that's great. I think that if you're like dragging yourself out of bed to do it and you dread it, like don't do it. There's other ways to get fit, and that's not the end all be all for sure.
Oh, I know what I was going to say. What about talking about, sorry, I'm like super annoying.
Good.
What about like switching up your routine, I guess?
Oh, totally. Yeah. All about switching up your routine. Our bodies are very, very smart, right? So if you do the same workout over and over for weeks on end, not changing reps, not changing technique, not changing weight if you're using it, your body is going to get so bored and it's going to know exactly what's coming, and you're not going to make any progress, right? You're not going to be stronger, you're not going to be faster. So you have to periodically be making things harder for yourself, right? And I think that's where people get so tripped up, is people are so scared of doing something challenging or doing something hard. So it's like, well, what if I fail? What if I'm at the gym doing this hard thing and people see me and I can't do it? And it's like, so what? I mean, the only, fear or I guess concern you should have would be getting injured. But if you're doing something that's not going to injure you, try it. Who cares who cares if you're out of breath for 10 seconds?
Yeah.
Like, you'll get it back. But challenging yourself and switching things up is the only way you'll ever get better.
That's like kind of what I was going to ask you. What's the most out of the ordinary like fitness class or fitness activity that you've ever tried?
Oh my gosh. Bar is like so hard for me, you guys.
Yeah. It uses different muscles, yeah?
It uses such different muscles. Like, I'm kind of a buff girl. I've spent years weightlifting. Not the most flexible in the world. That's my weakness. I can admit it as a trainer. It's my focus for 2017. I'm not graceful. So doing those like really like leg in the air, pulse it for 27 minutes, like I literally look like a football player. Like when I go
it's such a pretty workout too.
It's so pretty when the instructors do it. Yeah. It's not pretty when I do it. Yeah. But I still do it because, it's a different challenge and I don't care what those people think of me. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's if I could do it perfectly, then I wouldn't need to be there, and I think that's something that I really want more people to understand is that like no one's judging you as harshly as you're judging yourself.
Football players actually take ballet during training, which is pretty fun.
I mean, that's what it's like. I mean, like yoga is so hard for me. Like there are if I do a day of yoga, I literally can't move for like a week. Like I'm so sore because it just uses muscles that I didn't even know I own. Like I have
right.
Like going back to switching things up. Mm-hmm. Like how big of changes do people need to make? Like is it enough just to like change the order of things or
the entire activity?
Do you change everything? Like
I think it's just more about having variety, right? Mm-hmm. So I think if you can mix up different activities into your week, that's really great. Even if you have a routine that you're trying to master, or even if you have moves that you love to do, like if let's say you are doing a deadlift and you work your way up to being able to use 15-pound dumbbells, and you get to the point where those 15 pounds aren't really a challenge anymore, that doesn't mean stop deadlifting. That means like grab the 20s so that you can keep progressing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Also, that means like don't do the exact same thing every day. So if you do hit on Monday, try yoga Tuesday and then lift on Wednesday and then maybe go back to hit on Thursday. But if you do the exact same routine every day, your body is going to be like, yawn really quickly.
Okay, I have a problem because like I'm super flexible and I feel like I've ran out of stretches that help me feel like I'm stretching. So what advice do you have for that? Do you have any like new stretches that aren't really I guess conventional? I just need to feel the stretch again.
Yeah, I think if you're already flexible, that's great. I think your challenge is going to be to stay flexible, right? So as you get older, it's going to be harder for you to stay flexible. Yeah. Also mobility. So it's really awesome if you are like really flexible and if a stretch is really easy for you, but is moving through an entire range of motion easy for you. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, are your hips fully mobile? Can they go all different directions? How easily can your body move when you're doing different things? Really focusing on mobility, if you already have the flexibility piece down, would probably be really helpful.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Can we talk about rest days?
Totally. Oh my gosh.
Everyone's favorite subject.
Yeah. I love rest days. I think that it's important to rest when your body tells you to. So something I think a lot of us really experience is like a big disconnect between our mind and our body. Like our mind will want to do one thing or will tell us one thing, and our body will tell us something totally different. And that goes both ways. So you can be pushing it really hard and your body can be broken down and sore and screaming for a rest day. And you need to listen to that. But you can also be kind of bumming it on the couch for a little bit too long, right? And your body is it's like, all right, let's move.
Yeah, let's get up.
That too. I just think it's all about like really listening to your body. But I think too, there are some warning signs to overtraining. So if you're working at something and you're not seeing progress after a decent amount of time, if you have just ridiculous soreness that impacts your day-to-day life or your ability to do normal things, take a rest day. Like being sore can be really great and gratifying, but if you can't do basic things, you gotta rest.
Yeah, that was when I was like overtraining to the max. Like I was still taking a rest day, like, but I needed another one. I literally like couldn't walk. Like I couldn't walk anywhere. Like I couldn't walk up the hill to get to my car. Like every single day I felt like my whole body was heavy and dragging, and like, I couldn't sit on the toilet without my ass hurting. Like,
like, there are still like routines where like you're not as like dead sore where you're like limping, but you still see more progress. When I was doing Kayla, I was literally limping and like people were passing me like I'm a slow car. Yeah. Like it was so bad. Like, but now I'm not even doing Kayla and I feel better.
Yeah.
Just more in shape too.
What about do you think that okay, wait, two things. First of all, something that pisses me off is I see on social media people like rest day, did a 50-minute run.
Oh my God. Totally. I know. It's like the concept of an active rest day, which I agree with. Like, active rest day basically means even if you're taking a rest from exercise, that doesn't mean, like, lay on the couch and watch Netflix for 20 straight hours. You know what I mean? Like, don't be a complete sloth. Still move around, but just, like, don't push your body to crazy limits or basically still do a workout when you're supposed to be, quote-unquote, resting, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not a rest day. Like, I just was really upset about that.
It's not. And it's like not doing you any favors. Just because, especially if you're strength training, rest is so important to getting your results because that's when your muscles heal themselves and that's when you make strength gains. So taking rest days and getting an actual decent amount of sleep, that's where you're actually going to make progress. You can't get stronger without it.
Yeah. Another thing is like going back to like soreness. Do you have to feel sore for it to have been a good workout?
No, totally not. I think it depends on your fitness level. I think it depends on the muscles you're working. It just totally depends on your body. Like, I'm like you where yoga is super hard for me and nothing will make me, I can lift all the weight in the world and I will not get as sore as I will after a yoga class.
Yeah.
You know?
I didn't believe her because she can do so many push-ups, but she told me that she couldn't do, chaturanga. I was like, yes, you can. You can do push-ups. And I realized, you know, because I can't do as many push-ups as you, but I can do chaturanga. It is a different muscle.
It's totally,
it's crazy. I just didn't believe you at the time. I've seen your strength.
I also one day did, like, when I do yoga, I just go on YouTube because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And one day I don't know what I was thinking. I did Jillian Michaels yoga and it was like,
oh my gosh, that was not yoga.
Beginner yoga, and I started, I'm like, what the fuck is this? I was like, this is harder than, it's not yoga. Like, I was sore for like 2 weeks after that. Like, I couldn't do anything else.
She's insane. I've tried that one too, and that's not not yoga.
What did I just sign up for? This is not yoga with Adrian. Like,
it's like a yoga times 100.
Yeah,
like
it's not
sped
yoga.
up.
It's intense. Okay. Do you have any other fitness questions?
Well, this is more on the inspiration side. What are your top fitness or workout songs on your playlist? Because I need some new ones.
You know what? That's such a good question. I have been all about the throwbacks lately.
Yes, me too.
I love it. Give me a good 90s jam.
Yes.
A good 2000s jam. The other week I was at the gym and I was listening to Missy Elliott Pandora.
Oh my gosh.
Nothing will get you more hyped to work out than Missy Elliott
That's
Pandora.
such a good idea.
I might do that on my next one.
Yeah, I don't listen to music from
the new age.
Yeah, I feel like it's all sucks. Like
the real R&B before is the one that made you fall in love.
Yeah.
Not.
I feel like the songs now are remakes of stuff from like 10 years ago, but I'm like, well, that version's better. So
Yeah.
Exactly. And like, especially rap. Like when I'm working, I like to listen to like rap if I'm listening to
50
music.
Cent.
Yeah. And like all the
Eminem,
stuff now, like all the throwbacks are just way better, I feel like.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I like Missy Elliott. I like when I like, because I listen to whatever you're working out to, like I hear. So I like when you have good stuff playing.
Thank you. Yeah, we have similar taste in music. It's fun.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Let's talk about social media for a second. I know that recently you took some time off social. Do you want to talk about like why you did that, how you felt after, like just that whole experience?
Yeah, it was just, I had a lot of just life happening. I was just super busy. I had a lot happening in my personal life. I had 2 jobs, which I was crazy to try and have. And just between all of that, I felt like I was putting enough pressure in my daily life on myself that I didn't need to log on and feel pressure externally as well. So I just said, you know what? I'm going to kind of clean up what I got going on at home, and I'm going to not go on Instagram for a little bit and take care of business. And then when I'm in a better place, like I'll log back on and I'll feel a lot better.
I think that's
great.
so important for a lot of people to do. Like, I feel like a lot of people are trapped within this world of social media that could actually be the problem that's affecting them.
Yeah.
And they don't even know it. So I think it's a really good advice that
I think it takes so much strength to do that. Like, that's why I admire you. Like, in your, like even before you're talking about how you were in, like, a bad space with the food and the fitness, you're like, okay, I need to step back, and you do it. And like even with this, you're like, okay, this is not good, I need to step back. And like you make it sound so easy, like it's so hard to do that. And like it takes a lot of like strength and like willpower and like self-confidence. And like I just really admire that a lot.
Oh, thank you. It is really hard. And I'm have a personality where I will want to push myself, and like even if I don't want to do something, or even if something doesn't feel good, I'll push myself and force myself to do it. And as I've gotten older, I've just learned, if you're in a bad space or if you're not feeling happy, don't keep doing the same things. Do something differently. It's taken me 27 years to figure that out.
It's a hard one to figure out.
It's hard. It's really hard because even if you're feeling crappy, you get used to feeling crappy. And then even the idea of feeling better is scary because you're like, well, but I know how it feels to feel crappy,
Yeah.
So easy to get stuck there.
So now that you're like back on, do you feel like, are you taking a different approach to it now that you're back in it? Or are you like still, I don't know. Like how are you approaching it now?
I think I just am approaching it more on my terms. I know when it's good for me to go on and when it's not. Like, if you're having a bad day, nothing on Facebook is going to make you feel better. Unless it's like your birthday and you want like 100 notifications telling you happy birthday. Everything from like imagery to fitness to political commentary, like if you feel bad, nothing on social media is going to make you feel better. I'm a believer in that. There's something there to like make you more upset. So I think it's more about tailoring your social media to be images or things that are going to be inspiring to you. I am all about that unfollow and that block button. Like, if I don't like something, I'm not going to look at it, and really tailoring what's in my feed to be things that are uplifting and inspiring really, really help.
Yeah.
That's so important.
Yeah.
How do you manage blogging, working, your social life, and everything else?
Oh, man. I don't. And I think I go through phases where, some things are better off than others. I went through a phase where I was like still working full time at my corporate job. I was going to school part time, which is like a whole different can of worms. And I was still blogging and getting up like 2 or 3 blog posts a week and like putting all this pressure on myself to do social media. my social life was non-existent. My personal relationships were suffering. I wasn't sleeping. So there was that.
Oh, God.
And then I've been on the other side of the spectrum where I'm just like kicking it and having a lot of fun and don't really blog that much and don't really post on social media that much.
Yeah.
And, you know, that happens too. But I also kind of feel like I'm okay with both if it's what I feel I need at the time.
Right.
If I'm in a season where I really want to hustle and buckle down, I'm okay with doing that. But if I also want to pay more attention to my personal life, like the internet's not going to come crashing down, right?
Yeah. That to me is like the epitome of balance. Like always, I guess, sacrificing one thing, but then working hard on another. I think that's a good balance still.
Yeah.
It's not trying to overdo yourself. And that's really awesome.
Yeah, and for me, I mean, I think I've made kind of a conscious decision to not at this time be a full-time blogger or pursue blogging full-time because I still enjoy it and I don't want to put that pressure on it.
Yeah.
Where it's how I make a living, it's how I pay my bills. I mean, it definitely can be, and I think I've done a lot with blogging that I'm really grateful for. But I think if I put that pressure for it to be my livelihood, it would be really hard to still have that balance.
Yeah. And it makes you like not enjoy it as much when you have that pressure on it.
Yeah.
You know? Especially with you, like all of your like heartfelt posts. I don't know. I feel like it's like hard to do those kind of posts.
Yeah.
When you have that pressure.
I wouldn't be able to. And that's why, I mean, if you go back to things I was blogging about a year or two ago, it wasn't those things because at that time that was what I wanted. And when it came down to it, I just ultimately decided it wasn't worth it because I didn't want to just post smoothie bowls all day. Like I wanted to have more substance.
Yeah.
And it meant that, I had a smaller audience, but they were really engaged and really received that message. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I think yeah, it's more valuable,
So
I think. So yeah, like I mean, you wrote a post on like perfectionism and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you have any tips for like dealing with that? Like, I mean, I'm the kind of person that's a total perfectionist. I struggle with that all the time, and I know a lot of other people who do too. Like, I don't know, just thoughts, I guess.
Absolutely. I mean, I think where that post came from is I was really struggling with it, right? I feel like I like to write things that I need to hear,
Same.
Aw.
So,
I like that.
I, growing up, being a perfectionist my entire life, can honestly say that I don't spend a lot of time being nice to myself, In my daily life, I'm not very kind to myself. And when I catch myself being so harsh or critical of myself because I'm not doing something perfectly or because something doesn't turn out how I thought, it's really, really hard. And I recently started going to counseling to like start working through that and so that I, can be more aware of it. But I think the biggest tip I have for working through that is like, when you're criticizing yourself or judging yourself, think, would I say this to my best friend? Would I say this to
that's a good tip.
Out? Because 99% of the time we would never be, as harsh to anyone else as we are to ourselves.
Yeah.
So why don't we treat ourselves like we would treat our best friend,
I love that so much.
And we don't, like you were saying, like you don't even like realize like how you're judging yourself or what you're saying to yourself,
And half the time, a lot of other people won't even notice that about you.
Yeah. And I think like for me personally, I realized that like I'm spending so much time like getting mad at myself for what I didn't do, and I don't stop and think, look at all the things I did accomplish today. Look at all the things I did do this week. Look at all the things I should be proud of. Like I'm too focused on what I didn't get to. Like I'm bummed about that. But it's like you need to celebrate what you do achieve the same way like what you're saying. Like I wouldn't sit here and be like, Nina, you didn't finish your to-do list. Like I would be like, Nina, that's so great that you got that job. Like but we don't do that for ourselves.
Exactly.
That's a really good tip. I think.
And I think that it goes to show that perfectionism isn't attainable because you're always going to be wanting more of whatever it is that you think can attain this image.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What are your favorite ways to like de-stress?
I think just like anything that makes me feel like I'm going to put my best self forward. So I am one of those people who's like totally obsessed with like self-help, like being my best self. And when I feel like I'm truly taking the time to care and like be my best self, that is what is like relaxing to me. And that's what makes me feel good. So if it's anything from like journaling to reading a book to doing something creative, just anything that makes me feel like I'm like growing and being better as a person, I think.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Do you have any time management tips?
Ooh, such a good question. This is something that I am still working on for sure. I think I am learning how to break things down into smaller pieces so that I can, one, be more efficient with things that I need to get done. So I used to, when I first started blogging, literally do all of the photography, photo editing, and writing like all in one day.
Oh my gosh.
Not very efficient, probably not very good product. And it would just be so daunting because I'd sit all day and think, crap, I have to create this entire blog post from scratch today. And then I would procrastinate and then I would put it off because I was so overwhelmed by it. So I'm like, okay, if I take photos one day, write the next day, schedule social media the next day, and then have it ready to go, a week in advance, it takes less time and I'm less overwhelmed, so I won't procrastinate. I'm not perfect, but I'm learning. I wish I had learned that back in college.
Thanks, because we just started school last week, and I'll definitely work on that a little bit more, breaking it down.
Well, I did not do that in college, and I really wish I would have been better about that.
Okay, sorry, we've kept you a long time. We'll wrap it up with some food questions because you have the best recipes and love it. But okay, a lot of people tell me, like, I can't eat healthy because it's too expensive.
Oh.
Can you address this question, please, for me?
First of all, I think people think healthy is like so much more complex than it is.
Yes.
90% of what I eat is so simple and like stupid simple that people are really surprised when they see me like pull out my Tupperware and it's the same thing over and over. It's like buying fresh food from the grocery store that you don't have to pay for it to be processed and for someone else to prepare it is so much cheaper than, fast food or whatever. I think people look at a lot of supplements and a lot of like superfoods, and those are expensive and they're great to add on, but at the end of the day, you don't need them. If you're buying fresh produce or if you're buying like quality meat, eggs, whatever, it's not that crazy expensive. You just need to eat simply,
Yeah. No, I'm the same. Like, people are like, can you do more recipes of like what you eat for dinner and lunch? I'm like, I literally eat the same thing every day. It's not a recipe. It's not a recipe.
It's like build a plate.
I pick vegetables, I pick meat, and I put it on a plate. Like,
but even then, a lot of people like don't know. Like, like people that don't eat like as healthy, like they have no clue.
I feel like there's this mental block. It's like they think it has to be some extravagant, like, and like that's the other thing. Like, my friends are like, I have to cook for myself. I don't know what to do. Like, I don't have time to cook. I'm like, cooking doesn't take that long. I literally throw everything. Like, it takes me 2 minutes to throw it in the oven, and then I take it out. I go do something else. I take it out.
When it's the oven, it's like that's when you go do something else.
Yeah.
And,
and I'm like, I cook a lot of shit at one time, and then it's there for the week, and then I reheat it up. Like,
and like, no shade to Instagram, because I love me some Instagram. But I think that's a lot of that.
Give us some shade.
People see these beautifully styled, curated, complicated photos and think, oh, I have to do that.
No.
Like, no, you don't. Like, it's a beautiful photo, but even if what you're doing doesn't look like that, it's okay.
Yeah.
That's for the photo.
Aesthetic,
People, sometimes that's people's job. Some people, their job is Instagram, and so they will spend 2 hours to make a pretty photo.
Yeah.
Real life, it doesn't. My meals are not that pretty. Like,
no, neither are mine. Like,
they're boring. Like,
but they do a pretty job in the body.
Yeah, they make me feel good. So okay, what are some of your like go-to meals, I guess?
Oh my gosh. My go-to meal literally that I ate for dinner last night and lunch today, literally roasted Brussels sprouts
Yes.
with roasted sweet potato and
Ew.
Trader Joe's chicken sausage. Literally,
Yummy.
Oh my God.
that's like all I
Perfect.
eat. I
Yeah.
mean, it's
Yeah.
all I eat, but because it's so easy and it's so simple
Yeah.
to just like throw together. I eat
Mhm.
that so much. I also really love like simple smoothies. So even if it's just like banana, greens, almond milk, protein, nut butter, blend it up, go,
Yum.
like super simple.
Getting so hungry over here.
I also just love like really simple kale salads. So like marinate the kale in some vinegar, throw on like some fruit, nuts, protein, you're good to go. Like so simple.
Yeah. No, I love that. And that's also what I like about like your smoothie recipes are like simple. And like sometimes I'll like look up a smoothie and I'll be like, this literally has 800 ingredients. Like,
Oh, I know.
I can't. Like, it just won't do.
No.
It doesn't have to be that complicated. You guys, Les has the best like go-to green smoothie bowl recipe, and it's like not that many ingredients. I'm literally obsessed with it.
It's
Like,
simple.
this was like one of the. I'm not even joking. This was I like didn't do Pinterest, and I like made a Pinterest account so I could pin that. I'm not even joking. It's so good.
Oh my gosh, you're so sweet.
You guys have to look it up. But
It's so simple.
yeah,
It's so simple. That's the best thing about it.
yeah. Keep it simple, guys.
Totally.
I like
I
that.
love that.
This just came up. Okay. What do you think about cheat days?
What do you think about cheat days? Like,
Yay.
yeah, sorry for people listening. I just gave a major thumbs down emoji in real life. I just think it's stupid. You don't cheat on food. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you cheat on, a test or something. That's cheating. You can't cheat when it comes to food, okay? I think if you're not depriving yourself, have a little bit of what you want as long as it's not complete crap and move on. Like
Yeah.
my cheat days back in the day were totally when I would binge and like it would just be so bad and so detrimental. And then I'd be like, Monday, I'm going to eat so clean and I'm going to be so perfect. And it was just the same cycle over and over. Like you're setting yourself up to just binge and to restrict. And it's so bad. If you want a little bit of a treat that's like made with good ingredients, have a little bit and move on. But I think when we feel the need to label everything,
Yeah.
that's when we get into trouble.
Yeah, we treat ourselves like some people treat themselves like their dogs and like only give
Yeah.
the treats like once in a while, which is like make
Food
it
is
hard
not a reward. Oh my gosh, that's my biggest pet peeve. I'm
Yeah.
like, not reward yourself with food.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
It's so important.
we're so happy you're in line with our health philosophy.
Yeah. Okay, I have one last question. It's kind of random.
Well,
but-
second to last, I have one more, but it'll be super
Oh,
quick.
wait, what's yours?
Oh, great.
Oh, what's your sun sign?
Oh, I'm a Leo.
No wonder we jive. Yeah, I like her. I like her. That's why.
You're so funny.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, it's really random, but I just like am desperate to like ask. Can you talk about what's the your oil cleansing method? Are you still doing that?
Oh, yeah, I totally still oil cleanse.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is that?
Can you do a YouTube video on it?
Should I? I feel like my face would look really scary though because I'd have like makeup smudged everywhere.
I should do it. Or like,
But I can
or
totally walk
Instagram video it or something. Like I like
Yeah.
really like need to know this information.
Oh, totally. It's super simple. I love oil cleansing. I've been doing it for probably like 4 or 5 years now, and it has like completely transformed my skin. I like using a blend of castor and jojoba oil that I mix up myself and I keep in a little bottle just on my my bathroom counter.
Yeah.
And at night when I take my makeup off, I just rub a little bit in my hands and rub it all over my face to loosen up my makeup. And then I take a warm washcloth, wipe it off, and then I just follow up with a cleanser just to make sure my skin is clean. And that's how I remove my makeup every night.
Oh
And
my gosh. I've
So
no idea. I've never
my
heard of this
skin is
before.
so much better. Like I don't get breakouts anymore. I used to have so many pimples back in the day. I used to have really oily skin, and it just totally like doesn't happen. My complexion used to be kind of dull, and I think it's also a combination of like I eat a lot better too. But my skin is just 10 times better than when I was younger, for sure.
Have you ever tried it with coconut oil?
I have, yeah. I don't recommend putting coconut oil on your face if you've never done any sort of oil cleansing method. I think it takes a little while for your skin to adjust. So using a lighter oil like olive oil or jojoba oil could be better if you're getting used to it. Yeah. Again, I would still recommend like washing it off afterwards. Coconut oil is great if your skin is used to oil, then it'll be really moisturizing. But if your skin isn't, it can clog your pores and can be really just tough if your skin isn't used to oil.
Yeah, I mean, just from reading about everything, I think that's the biggest. Everybody tries it with coconut oil, and I'm like, coconut oil will clog your pores. Like, use something else. Like,
coconut oil shouldn't be your first attempt. And then down the road, if you know, your skin really jives with the oil cleansing method, then you can introduce coconut oil, but like, don't start with coconut oil.
Yeah. I'm intrigued. I might have to try it.
I definitely want to try that now because I've been using toxic stuff like Neutrogena wipes, which is bad, right?
Like
girl, I know. But we've all done it, you know. I can't judge. I did it for years.
It's hard transitioning. But, well, I mean, I'm using Beauty Counter now, which I like.
Yeah.
But I like...
Are those wipes or like a liquid?
For what?
For the beauty blender. I mean, the beauty counter makeup remover.
Oh, no, I'm saying, like, to wash my face.
Oh,
like
okay.
Wash.
Yeah.
But, no, to remove my makeup, I just use grapeseed oil.
Yeah, that's the same thing. Totally works. Yeah. I've used that before, too.
Yeah. So, cool. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Did you have any final questions, Nina?
Let's see. Okay. No, I don't actually. I'm good. We could do that for part 2 if you want to be on again.
Okay,
it's too out there.
Just to round it out, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you again?
Yeah, totally. So my blog is called thebalancedberry.com. Don't forget the. And then just to make it a little more confusing, on social media, I'm at balancedberry. On all platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Sometimes I tweet out funny rants. So, you know, if you like a good rant, don't miss those.
Yeah, and I'll put everything in the show notes so you can click the links too.
Thanks.
Cool. So... yeah, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you, Les. It was so nice to meet you, too. Virtual handshake.
Like,
virtual.
You guys, thanks. Yeah.
No, I want to, like, hug you, but it's so nice to see you, like, moving. Like,
I know.
Yeah, no catfishing. I'm just kidding. It's so hard to do that.
I have to come.
Yes, I am truly who I say I am.
She's real. She's the real deal. You need to come to LA, or I need to go to Seattle.
Well, both.
Yeah.
Like, actually.
Because you love LA.
I know. Eventually, I was supposed to move last year.
Really?
And then with my boyfriend, and because he's from California, and then we ended up staying here for a bit longer, but eventually we'll make our way down there.
Okay. Awesome.
All right. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. And
Thanks,
I'm sorry we have to do this. Have a good night, okay?
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Oh my gosh, I love Les. She was so amazing.
Yeah, no, she's great. Like, she's so, like, just, like, real and down to earth.
I'm just so happy that, like, despite, like, all the other, I guess, empty bloggers out there, there's people that are real and people that you can connect with.
Yeah, no, she's just... I don't know. I want to hang out with her all the time. I love her. You guys need to follow her if you're not already. She's the best. And check out her blog. She has like super easy, delicious recipes. I love them. And yeah, she's awesome. So, and she also has like I know she has at least one workout on her Facebook page. So you should go do that. It's fun. She's just like she takes like a realistic approach to health. I feel like some like health bloggers are just like, it's like unattainable. You know, she's not about perfectionism. She's about like real life.
Yeah. Or some of them are all about like the physical stuff and they completely forget about like what like the mind and the rest of the holistic wellness.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I loved that interview. Big thanks to Les for letting us pick her brain. So thank you so much for listening. If you liked this, please subscribe. Please leave a rating and review on iTunes, on Stitcher. You're the best. Follow us on Instagram, Actually Adultish. Follow us on Twitter at Actually Adult, like our Facebook page, just all of it. Reach out to us. We love hearing from you guys. You're the best. Send in questions and topics to actuallyadultish@gmail.com, or you can do it anonymously at actuallyadultish.com. You can press submit a topic and just send it in secretly if you're shy. We still love you. So yeah, we will talk to you again next week. Bye.